One of the big stories of the closing weeks of the election was Donald Trump going on Joe Rogan, getting not nominated, getting endorsed by Joe Rogan. And Harris, why isn't she on Joe Rogan? Why isn't she reaching out to men, or that particular sort of man? Why isn't she reaching out to younger people? Why didn't she make it happen? And I think based on the information we had at that time, these are all justifiable conversations to have. Now we have a little bit more information though. And the thing about it is there's this book, Fight Inside the Wildest Battle for the White House. It's written by two different journalists that have detailed what appears to be an effort by the Rogan team to stop that interview from happening. And we're left perhaps to speculate as to why they did not want Harris to have the same opportunity that Donald Trump did, and we will do that. But anyway, they had been talking about doing an interview with Rogan. The Harris team wanted to do it. They did seem to understand it's important to appeal to podcasts and all that. And so Rogan's like, okay, I have a condition. I'm not gonna travel to you to interview the vice president of the United States, who could well be the president in 3 weeks. You have to come to me, even though in the closing weeks of a presidential race, a Democrat going to Texas makes very little sense. But you know what? They did it. They did a rally in Texas to be in close proximity to make it happen as they continued the negotiations. And so they did this Houston rally that was there, so she'd be in proximity. But even then, it was a very touch and go process. Now they suggested doing it on October 25th. This would be very close to the election. This would be a great opportunity for Rogan to get the Democrat in at that point. And one of Rogan's reps said, wish we had known about this sooner because he has the 25th blocked out as a personal day. Now put a pin in that, we will return to that. The deputy campaign manager, Rob Flaherty, said, what about Saturday morning? And then the reply was, only if it's before 8:30 a.m. Okay, so the vice president of the United States, who's been working to get an interview with you for weeks now at this point, and is willing to come all the way to see you, and might well be the president in a few weeks, you can maybe fit in on Saturday if you start the interview at 5:30 in the morning, I guess, because I wanna have a sweatpants watching Netflix day on Friday. I need that for me. I have a very difficult job hosting a podcast. I need this personal day in the closing days of the election. Now, all of this, by the way, is from my point of view totally cool. She's not owed a position. I mean, there's theoretically legal stuff about having one of the candidates on and not the other, but I don't think anyone is owed an interview on a podcast or whatever. But if you're not gonna give them that opportunity, I think that you have to be very honest about it. And that is not what we got, because they kept talking and it turned out that Trump got the 25th spot. That day that was labeled as a personal day, that they could not do the Harris thing. That's when they talked to Donald Trump. Now, we don't know if they'd already planned that and just had said it at this point. It looks like Harris was actually working to get the interview before Donald Trump was. But so the day that he couldn't talk to her, he talked to Trump, and then he did not provide another time. I guess they were saying you could come back to Texas another time with the few limited time that you have to travel, but there would be no guarantee that they would actually make it happen then either. And the thing about it is, like, they might say, she's really bad at interviews and all that, but then why not have her on? I mean, you're gonna endorse Donald Trump. You want him to be president now. Her being on will be bad for her because she's bad at interviews, right? So why not have her on? And they didn't do it. And none of this, by the way, look, it's two journalists. Theoretically, they could be wrong or whatever, but they talk to a lot of different sources. They have the text messages and all that. None of this was revealed by the Rogan team. And I just think a little bit of disclosure, a little bit of honesty about this, I think would have gone a long way. But Brett, what do you think?
I'm starting to think Joe Rogan kind of sucks.
I'm not there yet, but we'll see.
It's tough, man.
Give him a chance.
I believe it. I believe it. And that is basically all the test of and scrutiny Joe Rogan puts into making declarative statements on his podcast. So I'm holding myself to the Joe Rogan standard. Makes sense. Yo, that'd be crazy. It sounds like a conspiracy, man, dude. Let me take another. Sounds crazy, man. Like, it seems basically like how he would operate. I mean, have you seen him lately? Oh, that's wild. I did my own research. Yeah, I believe it. The thing that's difficult for me is it's the way that I would describe it. Joe Rogan has found a cool club that he likes to be in, and he's gonna stay in it. And he doesn't want to do an interview with Kamala Harris because what if he ends up liking Kamala Harris? Oh my God.
Yeah.
What's he gonna do? He has a mortgage, this awesome club. Like he just and once those cool clubs, the coolness group, I guess, is formed, the people who are on the outside, what do you do next? Like you have to figure something out. And this is the time then when the left is having that very bloody discussion as to what's next. How do you widen the tent? There's a lot of casualties right now. And I think hopefully everybody who's not just trying to widen their own audience base, like they really do have the interests of the future at heart. And if that is what the guiding principle is, we got to get cooler and be like, start doing it now.
Yeah. Yeah, I just think, if right-wing media is going to be like, hey, debate me, we'll debate anybody. Yeah, but you're blocking her from going on.
They're not,
because you apparently do seem worried that she will win over some of your audience. Or as you say, maybe win over Rogan. Rogan maybe knows on some level, I basically just side with the last person I talked to, and I'm planning to endorse him. I don't want to go back on this now. Bearing in mind that he criticized Trump for January 6th, called him a man baby and all that. Maybe he realized that it was too dangerous to have her in the room. I don't know. But anyway, I just think, again, you're not owed a position on the show, but don't lie about why she didn't have one. When you click the join button and become a tier 2 member, you get access to all of our weekly top 10 lists. What are you waiting for?